Hello! Hi, I'm Professor Pixel here on Mad Men with the Box once again, joined as always with Oz Chris.
I'm here. Hello.
And Joe Corallo.
Hello.
And you might be wondering, something's missing from this. What's missing? Gervain from Animated Concepts. He's going to be here soon, but that's it. Everything else is perfectly normal.
No one of importance is missing right now.
That's right. That's right.
But no, Jimmy is not here. He's currently camping. Of all the people that I would imagine would go camping, Jimmy is not on my list. Anyway, Pixel.
He didn't escape the two doctors.
He probably did.
Son of a bitch.
Which is funny because he hates the Sixth Doctor, and this would have been his best example of like, yeah, this is why the Sixth Doctor is bad.
I'm going to fight that later. But yeah, no, we have some news to talk about, but we are going to later review The Two Doctors. That is supposed to be a very special episode. It's special, all right. Maranya, don't make me give you a pixel finger. Don't.
I don't know. I don't want to know the context of that. Moving on. News. What news do we have?
Well, you see, the story is that my fingers are freakishly. Anyway. Joe's face. This week we have the big news from Big Finish that the Diary of River Song is ending with one final box set that goes ahead and stars, of course, Alex Kingston, but she's with Jackie. They're facing the Crotons.
Literally, dartboard. Okay, River Song's got to team up with Jackie and facing off against the Crotons.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, exactly. It's literally just dartboard of just, what will she do this time? I mean, it could be fun. I mean, Jackie's a fun character, and it looks like Jackie's just going to be meeting everyone this year.
Because he's gay.
But no, yeah, this, from how they've said it, this is her final box set. So everyone's thinking, oh, are we getting a River Song like TV show or something? Probably not. Maybe just Alex Kingston wants a break, or they just have no more plans with River Song, which I can't understand. Like, is there really anything else you could do with River Song aside from actually her being an archaeologist, which I don't think they ever do? It's more about the time traveling shenanigans than her being an actual archaeologist.
I mean, she's met every doctor now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hasn't met 14 yet. Wait, has she met 13? She probably has. In a novel or something, she's probably met 13.
Not yet.
All right, so there we go. Big Finish. You've got ideas. I'll give you my address to send the royalties.
Yeah,
checks.
They'll be doing that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the cover real fast because we can. It's River Song with Jackie facing the Crotons.
I love the cover. I will say I love this cover. Jimmy, I'm gonna put Jimmy on blast. Jimmy hates this cover.
Why?
He does not like swashbuckling River Song. I don't know why.
Are they shaming my pirate thing? Because I'm down for it.
I'm thinking he has COVID again. Or the lack of taste he has. So yes. Diary of River Song, the Orphan Quartet. It's her final box set. I'll be definitely checking it out. I really liked the previous box set, so you'll be expecting at least a review from me of this box set.
And then it dies.
What's next? And then it dies.
Next is also Big Finish related, and I'm excited for this. So,
Ooh.
to celebrate the 60th anniversary, a new audio novel has been announced, and they revealed the cover, and it is called The Box of Terrors, with the Fourth Doctor, the Third Doctor, and 2 Sarah Janes. And it is read by John Colshaw, which I don't know if you've heard his Brigadier. It's absolutely amazing. It's like Nicholas Courtney decided to get out from the grave one day. And but his 3 is pretty good too. I haven't heard his Baker yet, but I look forward to listening to this. It's on.
I think his Baker is good because that's what he's most known for.
Really?
I think he's known for his Baker impression.
What I didn't know that actually, because I just always associate him with the Brigadier now because
that's his main role. Yeah.
But I look forward. Can you imagine the Brigadier having to deal with 3 and 4, which he's already dealt with before?
Yeah.
And 2 Sarah Janes. That's going to be the weird thing. Listening to him not be 1 but 2.
The most interesting is they're bringing back Omega, which is kind of fitting for the 60th anniversary because he was the first big anniversary villain.
Yeah.
For the 3 Doctors, so I think it's very fitting that they bring Omega back. But
what's also interesting is at least if you want to believe the cover, that is Omega before the 5th Doctor.
I mean, it's the more iconic look for Omega.
Yeah.
But
they pronounce
still,
it in so many ways, though. Like
Omega?
Omega.
The Hand of Omega.
That I think somebody actually said in the comments, okay, but he has to say it in the way that Pertwee can, and I can't remember. Oh well.
I can't remember how.
Also, hero. I think he should have been a god. Personally.
I think
I might get this. I haven't listened to the novels. I have the Dead Star, but I've yet to listen to these novels, so it could be interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Especially you have essentially two different versions of Sarah. And I think somebody joked, like, what is 3 Sarah going to think about, like, non-feminist 4 Sarah?
That's funny.
I think we're going to find that the through line is Harry Sullivan ruins everything.
Oh, poor Harry.
I'm going to say, just so you're aware, Chris, you are getting this. There's no question. I will be sending you the money for it. We're getting
I will get this then. All right, fine then.
Omega aside, that excites me, but John Colshaw reading also excites me. He's like my favorite.
John Colshaw is great.
His story in the last set of what's it called? Short Trips, the 12th box set of short trips. His story between the Brigadier and the 3rd Doctor, it's astounding. It's top tier. But yeah, I'm excited for this. And I really like the cover. It's nice and painted, and I can't see how this artist could ever go wrong.
Yeah, it's not like this artist has done some really questionable covers. Pixel.
Yes. So we all know one of my favorite Doctors, the 6th Doctor. He has a new box set coming out, and it is of the same line, Purity Unbound. And
it's the same artist as that audio novel. I'll take the reins here because I'm more of the expert on it. The artist for this range for the 6th Doctor loves to use that same photo of Ruth Madeley in the middle there. For 4 box sets in a row, they have used that single image. I don't know why. I've seen some people try to argue it's an artistic choice. she's the center of these stories. It's like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure there is more than one photo of Ruth Madeley that you literally just go into Google, type in Ruth Madeley. Look, you can find so many different photos of her. It's the fact that this artist has used the same image 4 times in a row is what bugs me.
Why does it look like Mel's about to knock on her in that photo? I'm like, what?
Yeah. So here we go. We got Waterworlds. That's where she debuted in. And this is the recent one. The Purity Unbound. Yeah, it's baffling. That's the preview. That's one that came out this year. Purity Unleashed. Again, same photo, but it's slightly obscured, which kind of makes sense for this story because she was erased from time and they're looking for her. So, but still, it's still the same image.
And who's that in the front though? Like
in the middle, she's the main antagonist. She's Purity.
Oh. Purity.
And then again, the second box set, it's the same bloody image.
It's exactly the same.
The thing is that the artist is talented because this is the same artist that we saw that does the audio novel covers, is the current artist for The War Doctor Begins and has done the First Doctor and Second Doctor Adventures range. The second box set cover for the Second Doctor Adventures range is not good either. It's the one of just 2 and Jamie. It's literally just them from like shoulders up. That's literally just the cover, and it's like, wow, you really must have just slept. You must have just fell asleep, and it's just, I don't know how these are being approved. Like who's vetoing this? He's going like, yep, that looks good enough. Because I know these are audios, so it's really more about the story. It's about what you're listening to, but the covers are important too, because that's what's also selling you on them. If covers weren't important, like, okay, Doctor Who as a TV show doesn't need to exist because we could just listen to it instead. We don't need to physically see the actors then if that's not important. Like the covers as well need to sell the product, and if the cover doesn't look particularly good, a lot of people are gonna most people probably won't be interested in getting it. It's not, nothing seems appealing, nothing's capturing their interest, and the fact it's the same image 4 times is just really lazy to me.
What Zisco there is saying is, oh, it's an artistic choice, like the obscured Third Doctor in the early
the Doctor
early
yeah, but it's just the part where he's standing, hands on his hips.
Yeah, and
which I would say wasn't particularly good either, because like everything else on those covers looked good, and then it was just like obscured. It's obscured Third Doctor in the middle. It's just, yeah, it looks so out of place.
Yeah. I think it's a poor choice too. I don't think Hebe's sticking around though. I think as soon as Hebe's gone, I think they realize that, I only have to work. I only have to use her this long. Well, I'm not going to bother to find more, because isn't that her like outfit? Because don't they have to make like a promotional picture for new companions? Like they go ahead and do a photo shoot quickly in their back rooms.
But even then, like, even if like companions just for Big Finish, they have like multiple different photos of them to use, or yeah, but they usually last a little longer than 4. Oh, so Pixel, I'd say this probably is Hebe's last adventures, but she probably won't get a proper exit because the Sixth Doctor is notorious for having companions that have their exits that just don't happen. They happen, but we don't hear it, we don't see it.
Of course, that's the thing.
Like Perry. He's reunited with Perry. Wait, we don't get her exit.
My poor boy.
Constance, she doesn't get her exit she doesn't leave. We don't know how she leaves the Sixth Doctor. Same with Flip. The only one we really get is Mel. But even then, that's with a different doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, okay, yeah. She just goes away. She'll
They're
just stay
probably just
away.
going to be. They're going to
sometime.
go on another. They're going to go on another adventure, and then she's just not going to turn up again.
Let's take a break because this is not a good episode for my boy Colin Baker. This is not a good Mad Men with the Box episode for Colin Baker. The only thing that can make it worse is if Jimmy were here.
Yes.
Let's take a break and talk about Fall Guys because apparently these
still
are
exists.
still exists. But listen, where else can you dress like the TARDIS?
Literally any convention.
The TARDIS dress is one of the most famous.
Yes. All right, good on Fall Guys. It's not going to make me play it, but good for them.
Cool. Okay, now we have to go back to talking about the Sixth Doctor. Because they have announced that, you know how we mentioned Jackie randomly appearing in River Song? She's apparently appearing in Once and Future with the Sixth Doctor, along with Lady Christina and Harry Sullivan.
Yeah, Joe mentioned Harry, and look, Harry's back.
Yep, and here's the cover, which
This is, in my opinion, the blandest cover that they've done for this series. It is nothing. And also the fact they haven't aged Ian Marter when, he tragically passed away, and he didn't live to that age that they're depicting Harry is questionable.
yeah,
That's really like, you probably should not have okayed that, because that is disrespectful to the deceased. To like, this is what Ian Marter / Harry would have looked like if he was older. Is like, don't do that. We already don't like this artist because he used AI art for like 2 covers. Now, does this artist just really love controversy?
yeah.
Like, how do I one up AI art? Oh yeah, let me like age up a deceased person to what they would,
Well,
to what they didn't look like because they never reached that age. Like, it's very questionable.
yeah, it's also, speaking of questionable, who put this together? However, I will say, if you want to think about it in a weird enough way, and a story that's supposed to be celebrating 60 years of Doctor Who, out of all the doctors to randomly throw things at, the Sixth Doctor is the one that you go ahead and you just have everything goes here, because that's exactly what his era was. It was all over the place.
See, the thing is, if this was Six and Jackie, that would be fun, because that would be chaotic, them having to play off each other. But going off the special edition cover, it seems like Harry is his main companion for this story. So it makes me question, why is Jackie and then Lady Christina, of all people,
Just
are in this story? This one in particular, like, see, the past lives, okay, 4 with Sarah, Kate, and Osgood, that works. Sarah was a past companion. Kate and Osgood are unit connection. 5 meeting Jenny. In real life, they're father-daughter. But they also have met before in a different story. And then also the Doctor and the Doctor's daughter. But this one here is the epitome of like just dartboard. We just had ideas on a dartboard, and we decided that's our story. That's our pick.
What has Lisa McMullen written before?
She's written a few things. I can't remember what she's written. Actually, I have the wiki up right now. I'll have a look. But this is such a random assortment of like characters, and I know I've seen some people argue, well, oh, this is an anniversary. Just like, you're gonna bring all these people, have them with like different doctors. And it's like, the thing is, it needs to work as well, and we don't have the context for it. And this is the Doctor before New Who, so
Why is Jackie there?
yeah, why is Jackie there? Why is Lady Christina there? Jenny you can get away with, but like Jackie and Christina being there,
Yeah, no, I don't understand it.
Lisa McMullen, she's written a lot for Big Finish. Eighth Doctor Time War, Stranded, Ninth Doctor Adventures, Unit.
What for Ninth Doctor Adventures?
She did Girl Deconstructed and Lay Down Your Arms.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember those stories.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. Just I'm hoping the story for this is good, but the choices of characters is very random.
I'm getting a little feedback from somebody. I don't know who. I think it might be you, Joe.
Yeah, it's Joe.
He's going to try.
Well, Joe fixes that.
Well, Joe fixes that. Yeah, you know I love the Sixth Doctor, so obviously I'm going to be listening. I mean, I've listened to the previous two. I'm so hyped for the one this month. It's probably going to be my favorite. Seventh
James
Doctor with
Wolfe.
Davros. I honestly didn't expect the Sixth Doctor to get one, kind of. Like, because he already got to star as the curator for one of the stories. So, why would he take control? Like,
It's an anniversary. Of course he's going to get one.
I know, but they have 8 of them, okay? They have 8. Ninth Doctor is supposed to appear with Unbound at some point related to this line, specifically Once and Future. We know that.
And then David as well as 10, so...
Yeah, but David's probably towards the end. We've pretty much already... We don't know if he's 14. He's probably not, but we don't know. We're sure he's towards the end, though. I just don't understand how you're supposed to fit it all. I guess
it's been pretty obvious with this story where it's not going anywhere. It just seems to be just standalone stuff. The actual story of Once and Future is incredibly loose, and that's a real problem I have with it so far. Like, I am enjoying it, but the actual plot that this whole thing is based around is going nowhere.
I didn't read the thing of this, so he ends up back by Potter's Lane.
Yep, I am Foreman. Yep. All right.
Foreman. Yes, moving on, next, bikes. There's a picture going around with Shooty and Mel on the set.
Pictures, videos of them filming together
on
for series 14
on a nice bright orange bike.
Very reminiscent of Seven and Mel.
That's the picture right here. Yeah,
we won't show all of it because it's a lot of it is just very similar pictures. So
it's just the same thing. Before the last thing, let's go ahead and look at. I have 2 memes. Well, 1 meme here. I created you.
Yes.
You created me. Doctor, why did you
Really, a
create it?
Spider-Verse one? This is where we're going.
Yeah.
All right.
No, nothing. Don't like that. I can picture it.
It's old.
Evil Dan.
Move on.
Okay. Matt Smith gets laid.
Is he stunning? 11 your 10 is showing.
Yep. That's it.
That's it. Probably
other than the one last thing of news, which is also Big Finish related.
It's a big week for Big Finish. Like,
well, it's 2 weeks of Big Finish. But Missy's back.
Hooray! Michelle Gomez. More Michelle Gomez. I'm happy for that.
Yeah. That's...
With Missy Bad Influence. Returns next year. it's funny. They're like, oh yeah, Missy's definitely coming back next year, and they've yet to announce release dates for the Spy Master series and the Fugitive Doctor series, which they announced last year. It's like, come on, please.
So
Give us
here's
dates for
the
those.
thing about that. Obviously, we know they've been recording Fugitive Doctor. We know it because there have been pictures of Joe Martin with Peter Davison. Yeah, because they showed them in the parking garage of the Big Finish Studios or something like that. Because they were switching out. One recording now, one recorded before. And so we know they've recorded that. I've heard nothing about Sasha at all.
No, I think I saw somewhere somebody said that he hasn't started, hasn't done any recording yet, which I'm like, at this point, why announce that he's getting a series if he hasn't started anything yet? It's like, we have this idea. Here's the idea.
Yeah, they're usually so good about preparing. Like,
I mean, the other one they really prepare for is Fourth Doctor stuff, where they've recorded that like years and years ago.
Well, their
Where
stars
they could just keep pumping them out like every 3 months.
Yeah,
I know. I'll definitely check out this new Missy series. It'll hopefully be fun. I wasn't particularly a big fan of the last one, which is weird because it's Missy with the meddling monk, and which always worked in her previous 2 series, but then they decided that's the entirety of that series 3. I'm like, actually, it only works as like one story. It doesn't work as 3 stories.
yeah,
it's not as fun when it's just one after the other. Minimal. It's better when it's just the one.
So, yeah, the thing is, I think they could maybe they'll be doing it better, building it better. Who knows? But
bring back the War Chief.
War Chief.
And then just, I don't know, be like, it's like, I don't remember being you.
Just small break before I continue saying hi, Jermaine.
Hey, good evening, fellas. How are you tonight? How are you
There he
tonight?
is.
Good.
Doing good. We have just about finished the news. We were just talking about Missy. She's getting a new Big Finish run.
Nice. One of my favorites. Okay, looking forward to that.
That's pretty much what this past 2 weeks has been. Just like, yep, it exists. Speaking of it exists, we should get into our main topic, which is the 2 doctors. And
oh boy,
Chris can't wait to talk about his favorite story of Doctor Who.
This is not my favorite. I might as well start off. So yes, the 2 doctors. Which was technically it's the last multi-doctor story of the classic era, because I'm not counting dimensions in time. No one wants to count dimensions in time. But yes, 2 doctors. It's the 6th Doctor and Perry meet the 2nd Doctor and Jamie, and it deals with the 2nd Doctor being kidnapped because they want his knowledge of time travel to help the Sontarans win their ever-going war against the Rutans. Now, you would think this is a pretty good idea. You have the 6th Doctor meeting arguably one of the most famous and loved doctors, Patrick Troughton's the 2nd Doctor. However, the story is a nothing burger. It is not a good story. It's not interesting. The Sontarans don't need to be there. They're only really there because John Nathan Turner wanted them to be there, and because the writer, Robert Holmes, created them, wanted another outing with the Sontarans. I don't know how the creator of it could make a bad Sontaran story. But even then, I would question this being a Sontaran story because they are in the background a lot of the time. They're not even. I wouldn't even really say they're the main villains. Just Cesini's the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Of this story.
Doesn't an antagonist have to have like a reason to be doing what they're doing at some point?
Yeah, again, loosely I would say antagonist because Cesini's reasonings are just she's just helping the Sontarans because I don't know, and then she backstabs them. Like there's nothing. It's a confusing mess, and it's not good. And it's sad that this was Patrick Troughton's last story.
I mean, any story that was going to be his last story is going to be sad.
Yeah.
Who wants him to have a last story?
Who wants him to have a last story? But if there had to be a last story, it should not have been this.
Well, I mean, but do you want to talk about Ron Pertwee's last story? Because that's not great either.
I like. Are we talking about John Pertwee's last story being Planet of the Spiders or Five Doctors?
I mean, didn't he appear in what was it after? It's only a minute, but it shows like a.
Okay, we're going that way. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
We can't not talk. We can't talk about Dimensions of Time and not expect the things outside the book to occur.
But to also put this in perspective for those in the chat who aren't in the know, Robert Holmes' story he wrote before the Two Doctors was the Caves of Androzani.
Caves of Androzani, the Two Doctors. He went from one of the most like watched best like classic Who episodes to the Two Doctors.
Yeah, a story they like rushed to get out on DVD. Like those first waves of DVD, it was like I think it was that Spearhead in Space. There were a couple of other ones, but like that was one of the first. They got out on DVD like as soon as possible, and yes.
And then this.
Then the Two Doctors. Luckily that wasn't his last story, which was technically it would have been the first episode of The Ultimate Foe because then he passed away before he finished it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then Eric Sayward tried to finish it, but then because EMJ and T were not on the best of they weren't the best buddies in the world, he withdrew and Pip and Jane had to finish it.
Yeah.
Oh well, but yeah.
Such a messy history with people named Baker. No relation. Just Baker.
No, yeah. Two Doctors. I never enjoy. I was dreading rewatching this when Pixel told us that the dice landed on the Two Doctors. I was seriously considering just like, nah, I'm not coming onto the stream for this.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was with time slot even better.
That's not any better either, but like, I probably would have thought the same thing. Like,
would you have done the thing where you're like, at least it's shorter or something?
Probably. Because the Two Doctors is unnecessarily long, and this is classic.
It's only 3 parts.
Yeah, it's a long 3 parts.
Well, it's 45 minutes an episode because they were trying to mess with the format and scared everybody.
It does not feel like 45 minutes. It felt like hours watching those episodes, especially once they go into location shooting.
You're saying you didn't like the scene where the second Doctor is slowly turning into the creature that they randomly named that just
The
wants to eat?
androgams.
The androgams, yes.
Let's
Oh.
Shockeye, let's go out on a night on the town and feast.
Real question here. Have you not heard of 1.5 times speed?
Amazon doesn't give you that.
I probably should have. Oh, I
Yeah,
wish.
because like I mean, this was like a tight 90 and not too bad at 1.5.
No. I feel like they gave it 3 parts is because it's a multi-doctor story, so it's like people want more of that. They want more of 6 and 2, but they don't really interact until the last part.
Yep.
The last like third
Half.
of the
Yeah.
And they don't really do much except just argue with each other.
Shortly after they interact, then Patrick Troughton goes off again, so they're not interacting again until like the very end.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not. Yeah.
They briefly interact. Then 6 and Jamie have to hide because Cassini and everyone come back, and then they don't meet again until after they deal with the whole like 2 being turned into an androgam.
And the fact that he looks the way he does, and Jamie is older, and they make sure to notice, hey, you weren't that old when you traveled with me before.
Yeah, that's funny. This was supposed to like really lean into like this is supposed to be 2 and Jamie in like season 6B, which I think everyone just kind of agreed. Like, yeah, that's the case. This is season 6B 2. That's just now traveling with an older Jamie. But then Big Finish decided actually, no, it's not. It's during when they're traveling with Victoria. It's like, you do know they are visibly older.
What? What are you talking about?
So there is a Big Finish story called The Black Hole with when it's 2 traveling with Jamie and Victoria. And it has the meddling monk in it. It's the one that introduced Rufus Hound's version of the monk. And they set it up because I think Jamie mentions Victoria in this story, doesn't he? The 2 doctors.
I don't remember that.
I think it was very quick. Yeah,
it's like a very quick reference to Victoria.
Wasn't it kind of like a reference of them, like having just said goodbye to Victoria not long ago because it would have taken place after. What was it? Was it Fury from the Deep? Was the last or whatever those?
I think so.
It
Yeah,
didn't sound like it was a goodbye. It sounded like, oh, she's just taking a break in this one spot, and we'll go back for her.
Yeah, but the whole like that the black hole like establishes that the 2 doctors actually takes place like when he's traveling with Jamie and Victoria, not in season 6B. Which is weird that they decided to do that because the whole point of like in the 2 doctors, it's very obvious he's working for the Time Lords.
Yeah, this story's a mess.
The story is a mess.
Joe, do you have any specific thoughts about the story you want to get into?
Oh, I mean, I have so many thoughts on this story. It's fascinating. I love so much like about this story. Not the story, the actual like the episode itself. Like the story makes this story defies all logic and continues like just marching along without any care for anything. Like everyone's just doing things because things are happening, but there's no plan at all. I don't understand. Like, okay, so the Time Lords got involved. Kind of why?
Because they don't want someone else to have time travel.
But
they personally don't want to get involved, even though that would seem like something they'd be like, yeah, let's send like a group of us to stop it, not just the doctor. It's not like it's supposed to be a shady operation. Like it's a species that is almost developed time travel.
Yeah. So, but it's almost, and then the only way they would have is if they finished with
I think that's Javane, not you.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
so the only way they got time travel was by extracting like genetic material from the doctors. So wouldn't him not going at all would have prevented them from developing time travel and thus prevented a bunch of people from being murdered?
Time Lords, they're dumb.
Because yeah, so like there's that. There's I mean it's always great seeing Jacqueline Pierce. I love her, and Blake Seven as Servalan. She's incredible. She was really good in that early Sylvester McCoy Big Finish Fearmonger. She was pretty great as like the villain in that.
Yeah,
But
she's good as a Lystra, like a kind of a Time Lord that's a kind of like an anti-villain to the Doctor during the Time War.
Yeah.
She's good in that. She's really good.
Yeah.
In that.
So she's a great actress. She's, as much as I love seeing her in this and just seeing her appear, and then I think we get Paul Darrow in Time Slash after this. So you get like 7 people back to back and horrible stories, but but seeing her again, it's great, but she's like kind of like wasted. Here's the thing.
She wasn't familiar with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
She even said it like, yeah, I'm not really familiar with this. I kind of needed help. So it is the epitome of she is trying the best with what they have given her.
Yeah.
The problem is what they've given her is not the best.
But it's weird because this is one of those instances where she is both somehow underutilized, or like you feel like they're not getting the best out of her, but she also has a lot of screen time. And she's
the main antagonist, but we don't really get her motivations.
It's a very weird sort of paradox. And then, oh God, it's just...
And it's one to toss out the window, too, because we've seen other people pilot the TARDIS. Like the whole thing is that to go ahead and use the TARDIS, they need a Time Lord DNA, blah blah blah. And then the Doctor says, "Well, the Centaurans are actually idiots because they could do it without it. They just have to do this." And the Centaurans just listen right around the corner.
Yeah, but like,
thank you for the information, Doctor.
The two Centaurans themselves that we like deal with are interesting and intimidating, but they have nothing to do. Like that, the actors are it's tall. They seem more imposing than some of the previous. This is probably the most imposing and threatening at points they've come across since like the Time Warrior. But it's under, it's like, but like, why even bother? Why try at that point? Because then they also have to be really stupid at the end with the one Centauran who's just like, oh God, I'm dying. Oh, I exploded because I forgot. And it was like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, there was no reason for the Centaurans to be in this.
I exploded because I forgot is my favorite line.
I mean, yeah, it's basically what happened. It's like there's a way to have done this story where you could have potentially taken like kind of like an Earthshock kind of bit from this and done like a part 2 twist is it's been the Centaurans the whole time, and like the Centaurans show up, and like that could have been like a fun way to handle it, where it's like, oh, it's The what the hell are they called?
The Androgons.
Androgons, like Androgons or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like have them be like the villains for like the first like two parts, and then like their defeat or whatever, and then it's really the Centaurans that were behind.
The Centaurans. Oh,
And then you have like some sort of epic kind of confrontation. But no, it's and again, it's in Seville for no reason. Like they didn't even attempt a reason for it to be Seville. At least in the Arc of Infinity, like the portal was in Amsterdam. Like
Yeah. This was just literally a random location they picked.
yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned the Cybermen and it being like kind of like Earthshock. I'm trying to find where I saw it, but like the original plan was for it to be Cybermen.
Huh.
But then J&T said, I want Centaurans, and Robert Holmes was like, oh yeah, I created them. Yeah, we'll do Centaurans.
Okay,
I'm trying to find it. I think I saw it here somewhere, but yeah, that seemed to be what was originally in the script, the Cybermen plan to extract unique organic mechanism from the Doctor and place it in themselves, becoming Cyberlords.
Chibnall is the fucking son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. No.
And also, that idea was part of Robert Holmes' aborted script for The Five Doctors.
Mm.
So yeah, it did seem like
finish. Come on, lost stories.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. But well, wasn't this also supposed to originally have been the first Doctor, but the actor who played the first Doctor in like the Five Doctors like was in the process of like dying or something?
I think so, yeah.
Because I think they were originally talking like him and Susan would have been like what they were originally thinking of doing, but then it ended up being like Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines, which is great. No offense to the first Doctor and Susan, but give me Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines every single time over those two. Like every time.
Yeah.
Like why would I not go with those two? But I mean, I do love that one of the first lines in this story is just Jamie going, "Look at the size of that thing, Doctor."
Yes, Jamie, that's a big one.
Yeah, and this is part of the paradox too. And then I will, stop talking for a bit and let other people jump in. But one of the other things with this too that's also part of the paradox is while everything makes absolutely no sense and there's no effort to even come up with a reason for Seville, there's no coherent plot, there's just like weird scenes and people getting pulled in that are being like murdered just for the sake of it because it seems like this just needs to be extra violent for some reason, like all these aspects of it. I also wouldn't necessarily say like the dialogue in the script is bad because Patrick Troughton, like everything he's like saying and doing feels like Patrick Troughton, and I'm sure there's ad-libbing and all that, but it comes off like Patrick Troughton. It never feels like that's not the second Doctor. Jamie always feels like Jamie. I mean, Perry, for better or worse, feels like Perry. Same thing with Colin Baker. There's no point. They do a few cute little bits. The one moment where they speak at the same time, the after you moment with Colin Baker and Perry and how they play that off. And every time Patrick Troughton does everything, the Centaurans sound like Centaurans and never like. So it's like in the moments, the capsules, the lines of dialogue themselves all like kind of work, but all the pieces together don't.
So what you're saying is this episode works better as YouTube clips.
This actually, you know, because there are younger people who might be listening to this, so let's speak to them for a minute. The two doctors is like hundreds of TikToks strung together. And if you did that, it's like, okay, all of these like moments work, but you put them together and you're like, why are these moments together?
There are people that do that. They stitch basically the entire show, and they can just keep scrolling. Oh, here's the next part.
Yeah.
Watch full episodes of Family Guy, The Good Doctor. Jermaine, you got thoughts on this?
Well, I have to say this. I'll start off with Chris and Joe have much ways that I will to say that this story just absolutely sucked. I mean, this was. I'm thinking of that SNL skit with Christopher Walken and Will Ferrell, where basically Christopher Walken just going, you know what this needs? There's more cow. That's what this needs. More cow. I'm watching it and then watched it, and neither one got me over the hump and finding anything to appreciate about the story at all. I mean, I agree with everything that was said before. It was just pointless. It was pointless. The first, this was one of those things like the last time we talked. It was like, well, it could have been better. It could have been a better story if it was like 20 minutes shorter, or one episode, 2 episodes as opposed to 3. This was just a hot mess from beginning to end. And I agree with Joe. It wasn't even necessarily the portrayal of the characters of the second Doctor or Jamie or even the Six and Perry. They all sounded right along those lines, but it was just like, why? why are they here? Why are they coming together? Who are these villains? I mean, the whole second aspect was when they ended up in wherever they was. I was expecting Antonio Banderas to jump out saying, "Zorro, the legend has returned." It was just all over the place. I've never watched a Doctor Who episode or watched a series of episodes where everything was just all over the place, and it just seemed like there was nothing holding it together. It's like the fact that we had these very colorful cannibals didn't do it for me. The Centaurans show up, and Joe is right. The whole scene between one of them and the Doctor, where he's basically trying to bait him into a challenge to get free, and the Centauran is really doing his best to like not fall for it, like you're not fall into the honor bit. All these little bits that probably would have been great things and greater stories, but just not this one. And the only thing I could say is, if I had to say there was one redeeming quality about this story, which I think sometimes is the only time when she shows up, is Perry. So you get Perry from this angle, that angle, maybe from the top, maybe from the bottom. But beyond that, I can't think of one redeeming reason to ever watch this story again, ever in life. Ever again. I'm not going to do it. I can't justify it. And I love 2. 2 is, I consider 2 to be like the template, if not the foundation, for the modern era Doctor. But it's like, man, this one is just a stinker. It just really is in every sense of the word. And I don't know who Holmes was mad at, but whoever he was mad at, mission accomplished.
I guess that means I get to go ahead and give my thoughts.
I will say if there's, it's probably Eric Saywood that was mad. This was during his whole. He just didn't like John Nathan Turner because he felt like he wasn't included in casting Colin as the Doctor. So like, okay, I'm just gonna mess with the scripts.
I'll start off saying I agree with Jermaine. Anytime you see Perry, it's good.
Okay.
some great reasons. I'm going to start off when talking about the story with this.
Doctor Who, you utter bastard!
Yeah. So basically, this is what Joe said. There are moments in here that work on their own if you don't consider them part of the story. Everybody is really not. They're not doing a bad job. Like Colin Baker and Perry, I like their relationship at this point. They've definitely improved from the beginning.
Yes.
Yep.
You have Tu and Jamie. Jamie's the best companion. He is the best boy. And I mean, who doesn't love Patrick Troughton? So with all that being said, it's still a very shit story. They didn't care. He had the.
It's like they're passing through. It's like they're literally passing through.
Yeah. It's an anniversary, so they're like, okay, how are we going to celebrate? Let's.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't. I thought it was.
No, this was no.
Season.
This was no anniversary.
There was no anniversary. It was just.
It's just because J&T liked the Five Doctors, liked doing a multi-doctor story, so he decided, let's do another one.
It wasn't an arbitrary anniversary or anything?
No.
It's an arbitrary anniversary if you consider this the 5th year of the John Nathan Turner era. If you want to come up with an arbitrary anniversary.
That's not a good reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's off the top of my head, that's the only anniversary.
No, it's literally because the Five Doctors was a success, and J&T just wanted to do another multi-doctor story.
Yeah.
Well, that's even worse. Yeah.
So all the rest of them turned this down once they read the script. Was that how it was? Was Trout that desperate for work? I mean,
I doubt it.
He died like a week after it premiered too, or something like that.
They killed him?
Well, it's actually very sad. He was at a convention. He had to cancel, and it's a sad thing. But yeah, no, there's just nothing. It doesn't. It's like it existed and nothing came of it. Like
I would say it's ironic that there's no meat on that bone.
Oh Lord.
Shockeye would be disappointed.
It should be something quite succulent.
But that also kills me because Shockeye is probably one of the most interesting, like, kind of henchmen of that whole season.
Yeah.
He just wants to eat. People,
it's like, but just his acting and everything he's doing, like, it's like just that character, like, as far as like standing out as being like, because I remember Shockeye, you know, like there's a lot of like random characters, like unless they're in like Revelation of the Daleks, which I think is probably the best story that season.
Yeah.
Unless they're the background characters of that, because that whole like everything going on in that, like, for me really works, but like. Yeah, Shockeye just like really stands out in this as being like, what a wacky villain.
Oh my god, I just remembered the one random waiter guy that they sport around for half the adventure, and then he dies as he's.
Oh yeah, he's an actor that also is into like butterflies.
Yeah. Hey, oh no, I think this is the end, my dear. And he just dies. Okay. You don't feel anything. It's so nothing. It's all nothing. They got together and sat in a room and read lines to each other, and that was it.
Why did they beat up that nun?
Because she
was standing there. Yeah.
But it
should have been standing there.
Why? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, on the one hand, I think, you know, that the UK at that time definitely like over censored different things, and like I mean, you look at some of this stuff now compared to like what goes on today, like going back to that stuff, and you're like, why was anyone concerned that a child was going to be, upset by some of this stuff? But then you also think like, well, they also have a bunch of good points, because they're like, well, you just beat up a nun for no reason. And you're like, I watched the episode and I can confirm there was no reason to do that. So, maybe they have a point too.
I wish there was something for me there's nothing to really like, because it's just YouTube clips. And I've actually done the YouTube binge where you're like, I just want to watch bits of Doctor Who, and you're going through, oh look, there's Tom Baker being goofy for 5 minutes, and then you go ahead and it's a Two Doctors segment, and it's only 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and you're like, that's fun. But as soon as you watch it with the rest of the episode, it just deteriorates. It's so bad. It's bad.
But why did they need to starry after a certain point? Because it seemed like because Chesney was a mega genius or whatever. So why didn't she kill off the Starry like way earlier in the story, because she's already too smart and got what she needed, but he lives to like just about the end of the story. I know, like things like that you're just like, what?
Because there were things they forgot to pay off. That's what.
Yeah.
She at least had to take him out in the cannibal guy, because that was the whole point of that. It was like, oh, you left behind the traditions of our people. We're not eating enough, so therefore, I got to take you out before you ascend to the level. It was just all this stuff that was set up, and it just didn't go anywhere because there was practically nowhere for it to go. When you get the two doctors together finally after all this time, the great thing you must overcome is how to balance a chair just right to make sure you tip the table over just right so that the keys land right where you. No. But that's like this is okay. Wait, 3 episodes, guys. they're gonna Rube Goldberg this. Lord, no.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to give ratings. Chris.
Oh God, where do I rate this? I'd say maybe I'd give it probably a 3 out of 10 for this, because like there's some moments I kind of like. Mainly it's just the second Doctor and Jamie, just seeing them again. But like other than that, it's not a good story.
Not at all.
Nothing about this I like. 3.
Joe?
You know what? I still I didn't hate this as much this view. Again, you got to try 1.5 speed for some of these when they're going to be really slow. Because watching this for an hour and a half, definitely a better experience. But I'll say because again, every scene, even when it's worth it for even the scenes where Patrick Troughton's not getting to hang out with the Sixth Doctor or whatever, even when he's not with Jamie, he makes everything work. Even that stupid going out to eat bit that lasts way too long. Even all of his just acting in those scenes when he's just a crazy cannibal guy and he's just saying all these things about what to do with a bill and how to pay, all that stuff. It's still wonderful. So I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10.
Alrighty, Javane.
2. And that's because Perry has 2 of them, and that's it.
I was going to make that joke before. 2 reasons. No. So anyway, I'm going to say I love Patrick Troughton. I love Jamie. I love Colin Baker. I love Perry. Nicole and Brian. It's Doctor Who. So Doctor Who automatically gives it 1 point. Okay. And then
Right.
no, it's not 1 point. The Doctor Who automatically gives the scoring. It's 1 point because it exists. But that's it. It barely exists. That's the main thing. Like the story is just nonsense. So and that's really what's important to me. You know that line for Big Finish, for the love of stories. That's what really matters to me. And this doesn't have it. I think I'm going to I think I almost have to agree with Gervain. I think it might be a 2, not a 3. Just because it barely holds itself together.
But there's no reason for it to exist. I mean, this is like literally something that it should have been on the cutting room floor. It should have never made it to the production stage. It just should have.
And I'll go ahead and close out with saying, of all the lost stories I want to hear, I actually want to hear Big Finish's take. You have Michael Troughton, who's doing his father's role right now. Get him and Colin Baker in the room and go ahead and pump out the 2 doctors redux and make it decent this time. And you sick son of a bitch. He went ahead, not only did he criticize the next season, which I love, Trial of a Time Lord, and then make Flux, which is, why are there so many similarities between one of my favorite doctors and the 13th Doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, this is painful. This is
I do love Trial of a Time Lord. It's uneven, but it's really. I don't know if you'd have as many Colin Baker fans as you do if Trial of a Time Lord wasn't a thing and you just had to go off this season.
Yeah. Nope. It's
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only thing that kind of redeems it. Because I remember when I first watched all of Classic Who, and I was just getting through, and I could not stand Colin for the longest time. And then season 23 started, and I watched, and slowly but surely I got more intrigued, and then the Valliard reveal, and it all came together. It was this beautiful, and that's how he became one of my favorite doctors.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The
What?
Scrapyard, rail yard, train yard.
Valliard eventually got sick of those nicknames and just went with Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
It's one of the books I finished. Yeah, he literally calls himself the Ripper. I love it.
Yeah, so this is a 2, and don't tell Jimmy because I can't.
He'll agree with you. Be one of the.
You won't even watch
it. He probably didn't. Yeah. Knowing him.
Anyway, I think that's about it. Next week we have, what is it? New Who?
Well, let me have a look. See.
That's right. Chris is going to take a look, see what we did last week, because I don't remember either.
No, we did New Who last week.
Oh,
so it'll either be Topic or Big Finish. Be Big Finish because we did Topic 2 weeks prior.
So next week, after this week of just talking about Big Finish, we're going to review Big Finish next week. But that is pretty much it. We want to thank you for watching Mad Men with a Box. Make sure to check out the works of Joe Corallo. Anything to plug real fast?
You can pre-order The Never-Ending Party right now through Dark Horse. They printed the Comixology story I did with Rachel Pollack. But yeah, it's out middle of August, but you could pre-order through your LCS or Amazon or places like that.
And Gervain, anything to plug?
Yep, just in about roughly 2 weeks, we're going to be making an appearance at Urban Nerd Con. It'll actually be with all these guys on all these guys here on tonight's live stream. It'll They'll at least be in one panel each, and looking forward to that. And we'll be making some announcements in terms of what we're going to be doing in September. So just keep an eye out on the social media pages for that. But looking forward to hanging out with these guys for one long but glorious weekend.
Nice.
And that's it. So thank you and goodbye. Allons-y. What you say?